Hello, SQL lovers. Welcome to today's section. This is the part one we're going to be covering in this section: the select statement, the from statement, and the where statement, right? Before I start, I would like to start with a story that will help us to understand how the database works, right? So, just like I said before, this is just for beginners, people that are just starting, right? So um this will get your foot on the ground, right? So before I start, let me tell a story that will help us to understand this. So let's imagine a database is like a big bookshelf in a library. On this shelf, there are many sections filled with books. You've got section for children's book, history books, and so on. Each section holds books that belong to a particular category, just like tables in a database that hold different types of data. Now, let's say you walk up to this bookshelf and you are interested in reading a book about history. First, you decide what information you want. You might want to check the title and author of the book. In SQL terms, this is your select statement, right? So it's like telling the library, I want the title and the author. So this is the select statement, selecting what you want, and I want the year the book was published. This is what you want, right? But the library is huge and you can't just look at all the books at once. You need to choose a section to go to. That's where the from statement comes in. Where am I going to get this book that I want? That's the from statement, your table, right? So from statement in SQL tells the database which table to look in. Finally, you don't want just any history book. You are only interested in history books about World War II. Here is where the where clause comes in. Where clause is like telling the librarian, I only want history books about World War II. It filters the information, so you only get the books that meet your specific criteria. That's where this statement comes in, right? So with this story, right, I believe we understand how the select from and where comes in. We can always put this at back of your mind, right, when working with SQL. So, so this is like our bookshelf, okay? So this is my database, right? So when you're working with SQL, so you have to select the database. So this is my database. If I didn't select this database here, what it means is that any information I want to get from the database, I have to put that database. So I will leave it here to help us to make it faster and easier for us. So this is my database. So I don't have to be putting it anytime I want to get information. Okay. So we start with the select statement. Okay. So select statement, just like I explained before, that is what do I want, right, to get from this book. I want the year the book was published. Okay. I want the title, right, and other information. So in SQL, this star means I want everything in this table, right? Everything about the book. That's what it means. I want everything about the book. That's what the star means. So then the from table, which table do I want to look at? So the table we'll be working with for this is customers table, right? So we'll be using the customers table for this. So from customers table, so let's just take a look at our customers table. So this is my customers table. Just like I said before, I'm not putting the database here because I already imputed it here. So it's already here. If another database is here, if I search this, you might say the table is unknown, right? So I have to put the database before I put my table name. So this is the table we'll be working with. So this is the from statement. Where do you want to get information? For instance, what I want is just customers information. So, and this is in this table. So that's how the from clause works, okay? So we've seen the select statement. So if, for instance, I don't want all the information about the customers. I want the customer's first name, right? I want the email, email, right? And I want the phone number. So you will use comma to separate the columns, right? So, but the last one, you're not to input any comma because that's the end of the column. Like that's end of the list you want. If the list continue, you'll be using comma to separate it, okay? So once I do this, SQL already know this are what I want. These are the columns I need. So you see, my information has been reduced, okay? So that is how select statement works. Okay, so if you use star, it will give you everything. But if you don't want that, you list all the columns you want here, and it will still give that to you. So also have distinct, select distinct. So we can use distinct, but because this table there's no duplicate, it will not work here. So if I want to check for distinct, let's check my account table. So this is my account table. Let's see, use star to see the information in this table. So let's see. So these are the information I want. So I'm going to use the distinct, right? I will use this column to give an example of how distinct work. So when I now say distinct, so distinct will just give you distinct value to eliminate any duplicate, okay? So this column has a duplicate, savings, current, corporate savings. So I'll just use distinct. So what it's going to do is going to remove all the duplicates and give me only the distinct values, all right? So when I do this, you see, so this is how distinct works. So this is it. So this is all for select statement and from statement. So we move to where clause. So sorry, I like using capital letters for this. So this is the where clause. So in our where clause, the where clause, we use it to filter data, right? So you use it to reduce the data, okay? The content of the data, the volume, right? So in a where statement, just like when we use the bookshelf as an example, when you go to the bookshelf, you want this book, World War II, and then you can also say, this is the year I want, like the year the book was published. So you've already filtered the data to the year the book was published. So for instance, so this I just use the account table for our example of these things, okay? So we'll just continue working with our customers table, sorry, customers table. So, for instance, now, so I want to see customers, okay, just open the account. All right, let's say they joined. Okay, let's say between. Sorry, we'll still talk about between, right? I just want to show the overview of the where clause, right? So, we use quote. So this quote now, we use it when you're trying to impute um text, right? So if it's number, you don't need it, but if it's date, you need it in date, right? And you also need it in numbers, but in string, sorry, not numbers. So let's say I can open between 20 and then let's say 01. Let me use 01 and just let me get this. Let's say 2020. Well, this is too much. Let's see, 2022. Okay, so what this we do, let me check this to total first. So what this we do is going to filter my data and I will only see the accounts opened or the customers that joined between this period I mentioned. So that's how where clause work, right? So it's not going to give me all the data involved. So it's just going to filter it down. So in the where clause, there are many things we can use, right? So that's where this between comes in. So I used between because I want to, from this date to this date. So if I only want this particular year, I will just remove this, right? I'll just say equals to, like I want this to be equal to, like let the date join be equal to this. right? So you see, we only have one customer that joined this particular date. So this is the where clause. So between is when you want from so time to so time. That's when this between works, all right? So and this and now, okay, let's talk about not in first. So where they join, not in, right? So if I don't want this particular person to appear, that's when this not will enter. So when I use this not, so it's going to give me every other person apart from the customer that joined this particular date, right? So it's not going to give me this particular details because not means I don't want this. I want every other thing, but not this. That's the function of this. So then if we want to use, we've already used between, right? So this between, we've already used between this date and this date. That's how that works. So this and now, for us to use and, so let's for instance say we want, okay, so we want customers that join. Let me bring in this between again. Between, oh, sorry, between this year and, let's do this. So it's because I want to use this. It's not this and, right? So this and this, it works here, but that's not the use case I want to make use of. So I want these customers that joined between now and now. And so if you have other conditions and account status, and I want account status equal to active, right? So I want these customers that open the account between this and this, and then I want the account to be, you can say active, right? Or inactive. So I want the ones that open account between this and the account is active. Sorry, I didn't put equals to. Sorry, remember to always put that. I normally mix it. Equals to active. So you see, look at the account status column now. It can only give you those that the accounts are active and their account opening date is between here and here. It can't give you account that is done because you've already filtered it using this particular statement, right? So this is how you can use and to, if you have other things you want to add, you can, for instance, let's say, and let's use this so that you'll see that you can put as many conditions as you want. And last name, we put last name, okay, and last name. So you can use as many conditions as you want. That's why I'm imposing this. And last name equal to Galba. So sorry. So when you do it like this, so you can use as many conditions as you want. So it's going to give me, you see, it's going to reduce it to this. The last name must be Gaba, the account must be active, and see the date join is between the stipulated and time. So this is how the AND works. But if I say or, like, so I want between these an account. Okay, so let's see. So if I say or, so what it means is and means it must be here and it must be here, right? So if I use or here, or, so what this is telling me, right? Give me all the information. All right, let me comment this out first. So give me all the accounts that open here, all right? So it must either be open here or it must be active or active. So what it means, you can get accounts that are open in other places, right? So it's either this or this. So you see, some of the accounts, some join here. If you look at here now, some join due to this condition here and inactive, but they enter because I say this or this. But if I say and means it must be this. So but this or this means either of the condition, any of the account that meets any of this condition should appear. So that's what this or is doing. Then we've talked about not in, we talked about between. So let's talk about in. So this in is very, very useful because I will say I normally use it, right? So let's see where. So if you want to use in, when in come in place, if you want to filter, like you already have the collection you want, maybe you have a list of accounts you want to check. So for instance, if I want all these accounts, I want to check them. So let me not get too much. Okay. So if I want to check for this account now, for instance, so what I do, customer ID, where customer ID in, right? So this is where in, and I love in. I love in. So this is a text function, right? So I'm going to add code. You must add codes, right? So and your comma, because you always use comma to separate values. Okay. So we need commas in all this and this. Sorry, and this and this. So these are the commas. Sorry, the last one, you don't need comma. I'll just close my parentheses. Then you have to put all these numbers in quotes, okay? Just single quote. You know, Excel, you use double quotes, but this is just single. So I'll just delete. My laptop is using, once I use one, it's going to use two. So you just enclose it with one quote, okay? So you see, so this is what I'm going to get when I do this, you see. So that's in. So you give a list of customers. So for instance, you have an Excel that contains list of customers, right? So you just use in to get their information without having to start searching for them one after the other. So that's where the in comes in, right? So then we talked about like is the word card, right? So where customer ID, so that's all for in, right? Then the like, where customer ID like. So this like, so what it means, I'm not sure of how the complete value, I don't know how it starts or how it ends, but I remember that it's having something like 004, for instance, right? So if I say something like this, so what it means is that I already know that what I'm looking for has this in, but I don't know the complete what starts it and what ends it, right? So that's wildcard. So you're going to use this percentage sign. So what this means, if you input this first here, what it means is that whatever that there are some words that might come after, right? So you can use it here, but you can also use it here showing, but because our own now, what I want, just anything can come before. That's why it's here, right? So, but if what you know is in the middle, you can use it both ends. But our own now, because what I want is just something that starts with this. It can start with anything, but let it end with this. So you see, it will give you that particular value. So if I close, for instance, if I remove those four and I add another percentage sign at the end, so it's going to give me everything that has 00 in between. That's what is, you see. So because they have 00 in between, so it depends where this will be, depends on what you want. If you have the beginning of the value, okay, let's use name and see. I think name will help me to first name, sorry. First name, first name. So first name, like, let's say HN. Okay, this is wonderful. This is better. HN. So if I say first name HN, so anything can start it. I don't know what starts it, but what I know is that it ends with HN, right? So anything can start it. So when you search, it's going to give you all the name. Okay, John, you see? So if you say, okay, I don't even know what starts or what ends, just give me something that is having O inside, okay? Is this O? Okay. So when I search, So it's just going to give you see, all this name here is having O, right? So that's how to use this like, okay? So this will be the end of our section today. I hope this will be able to help you to understand about how this select statement works, from statement, how it works, and how the where clause works, right? Thank you for joining me today. Do enjoy the rest of your day. See you in my next section. Thank you.